Before a man is called unstable, I ask what he had to carry while everyone else called him fine. The name came late. The burden arrived early.
Then come closer. This is not a lesson in madness. It is a crossing through what silence can do.
But the man in this story is named Jonah. He is not a case file. He is a shape many lives can cast. So, as a child, Jonah learned the weather of the house before he learned the map of the world. He could tell which rooms were safe by the silence around them.
Now, a footstep meant change your breathing. A chair scraping meant vanish. A quiet kitchen meant wait. And the worst part was not only the shouting, it was the morning after when everyone acted clean. Clean was not peace. Clean was the cover story.
In public, the family smiled with the discipline of actors. At home, Jonah kept count of exits.
No one said, "This is wrong," so the child made the cruelest conclusion. Maybe I am wrong.
Pain does not need a speech to remain. It can live as a flinch, a stomach knot, a sleepless room. It teaches the body to vote before the mind speaks.
Jonah grew taller, learned jokes, learned timing, learned how to become harmless before danger noticed him. People called him easy to be around. They did not see how much calculation hid inside easy. You might have called this a persona, a face built for the village, not for the soul. By 30, Jonah had an apartment, passwords, clean shirts, and a private terror he could not explain. Nothing in the room was dangerous, yet his pulse disagreed. He stopped sleeping well. He startled at small sounds. He apologized when no one accused him. Love frightened him most. Closeness felt like a room where the handle might disappear. He tested people. He withdrew first. Then he hated them for standing where he had pushed them. Friends said he was intense. Employers said he was distracted. Jonah said, "I am just tired." Once, he sat with a therapist and reported the facts like weather. Sleep bad, chest tight, dreams strange. He sounded accurate, and still somehow absent. What he did not say was this: I am not sure there is anyone behind my face. When a life is built on not feeling, feeling does not vanish. It waits for a crack. So when Jonah began to frighten people, it looked sudden only to those who had not been watching. The evidence had been gathering in private for years. He missed calls, forgot meals, walked at night, and came home with pockets full of torn paper. In a notebook, he drew rooms, eyes, rivers, locks. None of it was random to him. A mind starving for order may start making signs out of anything bright enough to hurt. Order, even false order, can feel like mercy. Neighbors saw a strange man. I saw a ferry overloaded with cargo nobody had agreed to name. A hidden burden is heavy because it pretends to be identity. It says, "This happened because of you." The shadow is not a monster under the bed. It is whatever had to be exiled so the child could survive. But exile is not death. The rejected parts kept knocking, first softly, then with both fists. One afternoon, Jonah stood in a grocery aisle and could not remember which version of himself had entered. The cereal boxes looked calm. His inner world did not. The father's voice, the mother's silence, the clerk's scanner, his own breathing. Everything arrived at once. Someone whispered that he had lost it. Perhaps. But first, he had lost the strength to keep pretending. Not every breakdown begins in childhood.
Not every wound becomes collapse, but Jonah's road passed there.
A diagnosis may help a clinician choose care. A story helps us notice what the label cannot hold. Both can matter, but they are not the same tool. Jonah stopped answering the door. He feared visitors, then feared the silence after they left. At night, the child he had been returned without language, carrying the old room in his hands.
This is the bank of the river where most people turn away. The truth is ugly before it is useful. No one crosses it by sounding wise.
His truth was not poetic. He had been scared. He had been lonely. He had learned to disappear. Grief came first as embarrassment. He hated how small his voice sounded when it finally told the truth. Then anger arrived, not as violence, but as heat returning to a house that had been frozen. He wrote because speech still felt dangerous. The page did not interrupt, correct, or leave.
For days, he wrote one sentence in different forms. What happened mattered, even when no one admitted it. It did not heal him. It stopped the lie from winning that hour.
When he returned to therapy, he did not perform competence. He brought the mess in both hands. Good help did not turn him into a new person. It helped him stop abandoning the person already there.
Some days were worse after they became honest. That is one reason healing should not be romanticized. Memory does not become gentle just because it is finally invited in.
The exiled parts did not need a throne. They needed a chair at the table and a name.
He learned to say, "That was then, this is now," without insulting the part of him still afraid. He learned his body was not betraying him. Sometimes it was remembering before his language caught up. Understanding his past did not excuse the harm he caused while hurting. It gave him a place to begin repair. Pain explains terrain. It does not erase footprints. He apologized badly at first, then less defensively. Then, one day, without asking forgiveness as payment. The old alarm still rang. The difference was that he no longer mistook every alarm for prophecy. Meaning returned slowly, not as secret messages from the world, but as choices he could make soberly. If you have ever feared your mind, do not let a stranger's cruelty be the only explanation you hear. Talk to someone trained if you can. Tell someone safe if you cannot. Do not make the dark your only witness. A witness can be a beginning. And if this kind of crossing is why you came here, stay with us. We take the river slowly. Jonah did not become pure light. He became more accurate. That was harder and better. He could look in the mirror and see not a stranger, but a survivor with unfinished work. Some inherit money, names, houses. Some inherit rooms no one cleaned, and grief no one buried properly.
To face that inheritance is not betrayal. Sometimes it is the first honest act in the family line. So when you see someone unraveling, ask more than what is wrong with them.
Watch what they had to hide to remain acceptable. Watch what it cost to keep smiling. I am Charon. I do not save every passenger. I only know that no crossing begins with denial. The boat moves only when the passenger stops arguing with. Jonah steps aboard carrying less than before, not because the past vanished, but because it has been named. Behind every spectacle of collapse, there may be a